Bassmaster Elite Series is headed to Lake Wheeler, and Jay Lee is just a few points behind Trey McKinney. Can the favorite, the Alabama kid, stay hot and reel in McKinney on Lake Wheeler? He is getting nearly 40% of fantasy fishing players' picks. Is he worth it? Is that the right pick? We're going to break that down in today's video. Super excited. It's been a minute since we've had a ledge fishing event on the TVA, the Tennessee River, for the elites. Now, some people love them, some people hate them, but it's been a minute. So now we're going to see one, and we're going to Wheeler, of all the places and all the ledges, is one of the lakes that fishes, even though it's 60 miles long and almost 70,000 acres and almost as big as Lake Gunnersville. I don't think it fishes that big, especially for tournaments.
And
We
I'm
might see
fishing
some confrontations. We might see some head-to-head. We might see some people
Shoe
sharing some
human.
spots. It'll be a pretty interesting event to watch on Bassmaster Live for sure. Before we get into that, let's congratulate Patrick Walters for putting an absolute beat down on the bass in the field at Lake Murray. Glad I had him on both of my teams. And if you followed along in the fantasy fishing videos last week, you might have had him on your team too. Now, we've had a little bit of a break since Lake Murray. This is an easy time for you to not get your lineups in. So you're up there in the top 500, top 100, cruising along, but all of a sudden you kind of getting busy. You're out fishing yourself and you forget about it. So that's why when you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification button, you're all set so you don't miss your fantasy fishing rosters and miss a week and ruin your season. Let's see who did well in the Beat HellaBass group at Lake Murray. Congratulations to S-Man, Chief 61. Solid roster, 1,328 points. Already contacted, getting prizes out. We're getting all caught up on the chattyboys.com gift packs and that kind of stuff. So if you haven't heard from me, reach out if you were a winner in either fantasy fishing or Drain the Lake. And over in the Drain the Lake, C. Gayton, Fisher G, congratulations. Solid roster, 2162. Right on. That's your winners and the winners of the chattyboys.com gift packs for this week's winners. You can still be in it for the year-end prizes. You can still win every single week in the Beat HellaBass group. We're about to shut this thing down. There will be a link down in the description, passwords down there. If you don't get in soon, we're going to close it before the Northern Swing. Myself, had a pretty good tournament at Murray. Nothing crazy. We creeped up a little bit. We're in the top 744, well into the dark green where we want to be, but we need to make a little bit of a push here. And I think I got we're going a little bit lot so chalk this week. We got some low percentage picks for Wheeler. I got some sneaky ideas here, so we'll see how it works out. Before we make the picks and break down Lake Wheeler, let's thank chattyboys.com. If you're in need of any kind of fishing tackle, boat supplies, marine stuff, trolling motors, graphs, live scope, anything for your boat, they're worth checking out. Definitely give them a shot. Just go out there, click, peruse their website. You can use code HBFree for free shipping and show them that you appreciate the support they show our channel and the fantasy fishing game by showing them a little love and visiting their site. And if you see something, go ahead and grab it. Taking a quick peek of the Omnia Fishing website, looking at some of the reports here, there's a lot of things going on for summertime fishing. We see drop shot, we see jerk baits, we're seeing top waters, a lot of different things. I think we will see a lot of offshore fishing. We'll see some people doing some stuff, maybe a little bit of late shad spawn, running some early morning stuff. I think we'll see a little mix, but I think the majority of the winners are going to be offshore, Decatur flats, shell beds, current, ledge fishing, that type of stuff. But I think we'll see a variety of techniques from finesse to power fishing. It should be a fun event. We haven't seen one like this in a while. So I do see a lot of people picking a lot of Alabama anglers that aren't necessarily TVA or Wheeler Lake type. I see a lot of people picking a lot of percentage points on people that are Coosa River guys or, more of that Smith Lake vibe on the anglers they're picking. So this might be an opportunity to make some hay. I'm not saying none of these anglers know Wheeler Lake or they don't have any experience here, but I think there is potentially some sneaky good picks here that are a little less obvious in some of these buckets. So we'll start in bucket E. Scott Canterbury and Gerald Swindle, Alabama guys, getting all the love. Now, they are more Smith Lake, like Coosa River, Alabama anglers. Not saying they've never been on Wheeler. Obviously, Canterbury, I think, has some experience on Wheeler over the years. Swindle probably does too. But I tend to look for more like TVA, ledge guys. I think Robertson could be sneaky here. There's other anglers, Seth Fighter, a fan favorite. He's kind of low percentage. Brian Smith having a little bit of an off year, but he's traditionally been pretty good. David Mullins, a guy that's really good with a crankbait, could be good. He does typically pretty well in offshore tournaments. I could see Greg DePalma dragging a sea rig. I think there's a lot more anglers. Cole Sands, a guy that's a Chickamauga angler, that could translate well here, kind of fishing those smaller offshore crowded spots. Chad Pipkins has been known to show up in offshore tournaments. In the summertime, he's done well in Chickamauga, Lake Fork, Pickwick, things like that. But to me, Buddy Gross is the most obvious pick. He is a guy that has dominated up and down the TVA from Pickwick to Gunnersville, to Kentucky to Chickamauga, and it's offshore. We're early in the ledge season. If he can't get out of the rut in this tournament, he's probably not getting out of his rut anytime soon. So I'm picking Buddy Gross in Bucket E. Bucket D, Cobb getting a lot of love here. As far as I can tell, not much tournament experience on Wheeler Lake, but he is pretty good in the post spawn. That top water could be good. Webster and Gaston getting a lot of love as Alabama. I do think Kenta Kimura, he had a top 15 or 20 in last year's Bassmaster Open in May. So I think he could be good. And as a guy that does like to fish offshore and has a lot of sneaky techniques and rigs, if he's fishing in the crowd, he could be a good pick. But I'm going to go quite a ways down the list, and I'm going to go with Bob Downey. And I'm going with Bob because he just seems to do well in all of Alabama. Pretty solid on the TVA. And he's only really in Bucket D because he had he didn't get to fish Harris Chain because they welcomed a new child in their family. He's got 2 solid top 50 cuts post Harris Chain on St. John's and Murray. Got some good momentum. And if you just added, 50 points to his AOI, he'd be right up in the middle of the pack. So I think he's actually more like a BC level angler in Bucket D clothing here. So I'm going to go with old Bob Downey in Bucket D. Bucket C, Welcher as an Alabama angler, getting a lot of love. But Welcher self-admittedly says that ledge tournament is probably his biggest weakness. Now, maybe he can find some other sneaky stuff to play in this event, but I don't necessarily love. I mean, Welcher's awesome, and I wouldn't be surprised if you catch him. But at 33%, I'm gonna go a little different direction here. Ito and Fujita, front-facing prowess could play here. They could be good picks. A lot of people picking Hackney. I mean, he won on Pickwick. He's had success in the TVA. Luke Palmer, I think, could be a safe pick. He's a guy that just makes top 50 checks, gets you solid points. Typically, he had a bad Florida swing, but I think he'll get back on track here. But I'm going Logan Parks. I'm going with one of the young EQ guys here. He's had really, a really good Texas swing, and he did pretty decent on Murray. He had 2 bad tournaments in Florida, which put him down in the C bucket. But I think coming to his home state in Alabama, I look for Logan Parks to excel. And he had a pretty decent tournament, cashed a check when the Open was here last year. Will Davis getting lots of love. Another Coosa River guy. Obviously won on Lay Lake, his home lake, last season. Very talented angler. Probably will catch him, but I don't think he garners the 23% that he's getting right now. Lee Livesey having a great year. He may definitely catch him. Polnick, second runner-up at last year's Bassmaster Open. I think he's a very valid pick. Milliken getting a little love. He had a decent so-so tournament. I think he knows some things about Wheeler Lake after last year's Open. Justin Atkins, just 2 pools down, right? Wilson, Pickwick. I think he said Wheeler is one of his favorite lakes. It's about an hour from Florence, Alabama to Decatur. So he definitely should get your attention as a potential option. Justin, I would definitely, if I'm going Alabama guys, I definitely go Atkins over Will Davis. Wes Logan, definitely more of a Coosa guy. John Cox won a Forest Wood Cup here, but that was later in the summer, August. He got way up in some creeks. It will be interesting to see if John Cox can find some of that magic on Wheeler Lake. That would be awesome to see. But I'm going to go quite a bit further down the list, and I'm going with another EQ rookie that had a good tournament last year in the Opens, and I'm going Robert Gee. Robert Gee definitely is a TVA guy, Knoxville area, so that more the Loudon Teleco. So he's been staying in tune with the bass there, and I think he knows how to catch them on the TVAs. I'm going low percentage here, going against the grain, and we're going to see if this is going to pay off with some of these picks. I got a lot of sub 5% picks this week. Finally, Bucket A, Jordan Lee getting lots of love. And hey, you know what? I want to see Jordan Lee smash him because I want to see him catch Trey McKinney. I'm not going to lie. I think McKinney did really well. He had a top 10, I think, in the Bassmaster Open, so don't sleep on him. Hamner getting a lot of love. Not sure if it's great for Hamner, but I think he'll catch him. Cody Huff, wouldn't shock me to see him do well. We're off the Patrick Walters chain, coming off a win. I'm not riding him every single event. John Garrett, definitely a TVA guy. Brandon Lester's a TVA guy. The Johnson brothers getting a lot of love. Jacob Fouts, give him a strong look. I think in his 3 Elite Series events on Chickamauga and Pickwick, which are TVA, he's got 3 top 5s, and then 1 Bassmaster Open on Chickamauga. He's got like a top 20 or top 30. So all very solid finishes. And I really wanted to pick Fouts. He's having a good year. He's right up there, top 10 AOI. But even though Wesley Gore had like a 95th place finish in the Bassmaster Open last year, worst finish of his EQ qualifying season, I got a feeling he was on some stuff. The boat draw really didn't work out. He lost some fish. I've heard some stories. I think Wesley Gore is going to catch him. and he's a very low percentage pick in bucket A. So we're going a little off the grid here. Giving you some stuff. You can definitely play the favorite teams buckets, but I think I've given you a lot of options if you want to go low percentage. We're going to find out whether this is going to destroy my season or whether we're going to make a big push here. Let's move on to Drain the Lake before we get into tiebreakers. All right, Drain the Lake, sitting pretty okay. We got some room to improve here, but we're still well in the dark green. Taking Buddy Gross, Brandon Polnick, Cole Sands, who I mentioned in the regular game, David Mullins. I really wasn't sure I wanted to take Jordan Lee on Smith or Wheeler, but we're going to take him here. Got some other picks up my sleeve for Smith. We're going Kyle Patrick, Logan Parks, and finally, because I think old Scott Canterbury probably fished up and down the TVA back in his FLW days, we will give local Alabama, Odenville, Alabama, Scott Canterbury our number 8 spot. We are going to go 76 pounds, 2 ounces as the tiebreaker, and our Drain the Lake will be Buddy Gross, Brandon Polnick, Cole Sands, David Mullins, Jordan Lee, Kyle Patrick, Logan Parks, and Scott Canterbury. Speaking of river fishing, if you missed it, I got a whole series on my recent Bass Nation qualifier event out of La Crosse, Wisconsin that is totally worth watching. So make sure you check out this video on the screen right here.